Good morning, sailors. Welcome back to a very sunny Barcelona. How are you? We slept a little later this morning, got up around 9 AM, which is technically 8 AM at UK time. We got ready and then headed down for breakfast. They had a lovely continental and hot breakfast on offer, and there was a lot of choice. I opted for some granola and some strawberry yogurt to go on top. Paul had a bar of cereal, and then had some toast and a few items from the fried menu. We had some tea with our breakfast and discussed how we would get to the port. After breakfast, we went back to the room, showered and changed, packed things into the suitcase, and then it was time to check out. We had bought 48-hour travel cards, so we left them with the concierge to be given to any other guests that checked in for the weekend and that may want unlimited travel. When we stepped outside, the temperature was already 24 degrees Celsius, which is about 75 Fahrenheit. We hailed a cab and headed down to the port. The check-in procedure was simple and pretty painless. Through security first, everything electrical out of your bags and a tray, and belts and jackets to go through as well. After clearing security really quickly, we went then to check-in. We'd done a lot of this online, so therefore it would just be answering some questions, a check of the passport, our negative COVID test and our vaccination cards. After all being checked, it was then time to head up the escalator towards the ship. We were asked if we were travel agent or Crown and Anchor. We were Crown and Anchor, which is Royal Caribbean's loyalty scheme. We were then handed a lanyard to wear with a map of the ship. It was then time to walk up the gangway at the top. Cameras away, it's time to get on board, and you know ship security don't like you taking videos and pictures of this process. When we found out about this trip initially, it was only Paul that was invited to the event, so we jumped at it. Then a few weeks later I got an invite, so we decided that we should book separate rooms and take some friends with us. Unfortunately they were not able to make it, so we left it at the 2 rooms on board. That was easy because then we didn't have to listen to each other or complain about each other snoring. We boarded the ship on deck 5 and walked along the promenade. I wanted to get my picture taken with the Mustang and the large silver cowboy hat. Royal Caribbean had emailed us about a great app for Wonder of the Seas that you could download and play a game where you had to explore all 8 neighbourhoods of the ship, and in each neighbourhood you had to answer 3 questions from the quizmaster, a riddle me this question that had a drop down menu of answers, and then a social round where you had to take a picture and post it to your social media using the hashtag #WonderHasArrived. We found a lady with a selfie board, so I got my picture taken with her on the promenade with a massive chrome cowboy hat in the background. After this we headed straight up to our rooms to drop off the luggage and backpacks, and then we would head out and explore. We both have balcony cabins that are quite similar, except that Paul's balcony was slightly deeper as he was in the part of the ship where it juts out a little bit due to the ship's design. He was on deck 12 and mine was one deck above on deck 14. If you want to see a video of my balcony stateroom 611 on deck 14, then please click either in the link in the top corner of this video, depending on what device you're using, or it'll be in the video description below. After settling in, I went up to the suites area to have a look at the suites that they had opened for people to walk around. I had a look in the suite lounge before having a look inside the grand suite next door. I got a text from Paul saying he was downstairs, so I went down to the Royal Promenade to meet up with him. He was sitting in Cafe Promenade having a drink and something to eat. I got a root beer from Sorrento's freestyle machine, had a turkey wrap and a 4-cheese roll, and a small pot of watermelon and grapes. As we were sitting down, I turned to my left and recognised the back of someone's head. I said to Paul, "Isn't that Sue from when we were on Vision of the Seas?" As she was sitting with two friends, we gently disturbed them just to say hello. We had sailed on Vision of the Seas back in 2016 with Sue and her late husband Jeff. We have always kept in touch through Facebook and other social media, and it was so lovely to see her. I think it made all of our days. After our catch up, it was time to go and check in at our muster drill station, which was down in Studio B, where the ice rink and laser tag take place. Entertainment Place, where our muster drill was one of the neighbourhoods that we needed to check as part of our game. We found a selfie board with the pink flamingo artwork, so a picture just had to be taken. You may remember Penelope Florence, the inflatable pink flamingo from the trip in Miami. We answered the question in this area and we were on our way to our first 5 points. We then headed back up to the Royal Promenade so Paul could get a selfie board picture with the Mustang and cowboy hat. We then answered these questions. We had 10 points and we were 2 neighbourhoods down. We thought it was best to work our way from the top of the ship then back down, so we headed up to the suite area. We were lucky to get to see a Crown Loft suite, owner's suite and the new suite sun deck. We went to the suite lounge to have our picture taken, but they didn't have a selfie board, but we did answer the questions and we were then up another 5 points and another neighbourhood down. The next neighbourhood we visited was the Youth Zone, Adventure Ocean and Social 100, the new club for teens. We didn't go into Adventure Ocean, but we did look at Social 100, which is where the suite sun deck is on the other Oasis class ships, and they did have this rather cool melting ice lily artwork. We also got a picture taken with a spaceman that's in the bleachers that overlooks the new big massive screen area on the deck, because we had to walk past it anyway. Our next stop was the pool and sports zones at the back of the ship, and on our way there we had to walk through our local fresh, which is a complimentary Mexican on board, so I think it was time to have a bit of chicken quesadilla and some guacamole and a little bit of root beer. After our quick snack, we found another selfie board in the new Wonder Playscape area. It was time to answer the questions. We scored another 5 points, so that was us up to 20 points and 4 neighbourhoods down. 4 to go. We watched some people on the zip line, the flow rider, and we headed down to Central Park on deck 8, the next destination and the next neighbourhood where we had to answer the questions. We found the selfie board in the middle of Central Park. We got a selfie with the water slides above. We sat on a bench in the park to answer the questions before moving to our next destination, the Vitality Spa. At the Vitality Spa, we had a picture with the selfie board. We got chatting to lovely Holly from Royal Caribbean's UK headquarters. She works in marketing and we had a great chat about all things cruising. We then had a quick tour of the spa and the gym, another 10 points added due to the last couple of neighbourhoods, and we were then on a roll. Our final area and neighbourhood was the boardwalk. We found the selfie board out by Johnny Rockets and we got our pictures taken with the ultimate abyss slide behind us. We spent the afternoon visiting the 8 different neighbourhoods around the ship and playing the game in the Royal Wonder of the Seas app, which was really impressive to say the least. We then sat in Playmaker's bar, one of my favourites, to play the final quiz. I went first because you have to answer 11 questions and you have 30 seconds to answer. It was quite difficult as some of the questions were a little tricky. Also, the system decided to time out and wouldn't let us answer a couple of questions, and then it ended. It got stuck and it said that we had finished, but we still had some questions to answer. We just went to speak to the nice team that put the app together to advise what happened. They checked and could see that we hadn't answered those questions, so they just reset the app for us. We both scored a very good 9 out of 11 on the quiz. We didn't find out the answers though, or who had won, as there wasn't any announcement, which was quite a bit of a shame. We wanted to know what the prizes were. It was a lot of fun to play this game, and it was a great way to visit the different areas of the ship, and it was a good way to really get to know what the ship has to offer. After playing the game, we headed up to Paul's stateroom. It was the same layout as mine, except it had a bigger balcony. On the way back to my stateroom, I had to go past Wonderland, one of the speciality restaurants on board. The lifts in this area are all themed to Alice in Wonderland. The restaurant is on 2 floors. You have the bar and reception area upstairs, and the food magic happens downstairs. When I got back to my room, I found a note outside my room to say that I'd been invited to Wonderland that evening. If you know this already, it's probably one of my least favourite restaurants on board. It's all smoke and mirrors, and once you've done it once, it's not really a magical place the second time around. Paul then called me on the stateroom phone to find out what restaurant I had received. As he had received a voucher for the Mason Jar, we decided to go to Mason Jar instead, so I was able to join him on his reservation. When I phoned to say I wouldn't be accepting the offer of Wonderland, I was asked by the operative why. I said, it's my least favourite on board. She was really taken aback that I didn't like it, and I know that I'm probably not the only one that doesn't. Now it's time to go and get showered, change for dinner, so when I pick you back up again, it'll be on deck 15 in the Mason Jar, and we'll go and try out the brand new specialty restaurant on board Wonder of the Seas. The Mason Jar is a southern restaurant and bar. They have a small stage in a bar area that plays country music, and a larger restaurant area at the back. The bartender asked me what I'd like to drink, and I asked if they had root beer. He said, we sure do. I can make your root beer float if you like, and I didn't have to be asked twice. We were then taken through to the restaurant to have our dinner. We were sat at a table with Colette and her husband, who we'd just met on the cruise, and they're avid cruisers and from Dublin, so we had a right crack. The menus came out and we were advised that the portion sizes were a little hefty. I decided against a starter and we'd just have a hefty main course. I was torn between chicken pot pie and beef brisket. I decided on the beef brisket with a side of sweet potato fries and mac and cheese, and we put a chicken pot pie in the middle for sharing because we'd all decided that for the description on the menu that we'd like to give it a try. Paul had the St. Louis style ribs, Colette and her husband had the crispy chicken sandwich. Paul and Colette's husband had a crab starter. I think they wished they didn't know after seeing what came out of the kitchen. They were not wrong about those portion sizes. After mains, Colette had to run because she wanted to see the earlier ice show named 365. We had booked to see it later that evening at 10 PM. Paul had some bourbon butter pecan ice cream, and Colette's husband had opted for the Gone Bananas dessert. I opted out. If I had anything else, I would really need to be rolled out that restaurant. We left the Mason Jar and went down to the Bionic bar, and Paul ordered a drink using the tablet. We first used this robotic bar back in 2015 on Anthem of the Seas, and they've now introduced them to the Oasis class ships as they're very popular. MSC have introduced a humanoid bartender on Virtuosa to rival this. You can see my Top Trump style review of the robotic bartenders by clicking in the video description to see who has the best. I popped back to my room to charge my phone and get my other camera and a light jacket. We were going to see the ice show at 10 PM and then straight after that to the new aqua show Intense at 11 PM. The aqua show is open air, so we definitely need a jacket to keep warm, and sometimes the ice arena in Studio B can also be quite cold. There was just time to see the tail animal my stateroom attendant had left me. It was a puppy dog, and the stowaways were absolutely thrilled. With camera and phone in hand, a little more charged, it was time to head back down to deck 5 to meet Paul at the Starbucks to grab a cup of tea. He was waiting, so we headed down the spiral staircase to Entertainment Place and then along to Studio B. We managed to get seats in the front row facing the stage at the back of the ice rink. The ice show named 365 was amazing, really great stunts, and a few of them didn't really land the triple axels. One of the skaters came close down to the sideboards. There was this amazing dance number in the middle where two skaters were searching for each other, then they found each other. The music was brilliant, and the skating was so powerful and emotional that it would have brought a tear to any glass eye. Mike, the cruise director, skated onto the ice at the end. He said it did help that he was Canadian and he learned to skate in his younger days. We were leaving as he arrived on the ice and he shouted, "Hey, where do you guys think you're going?" Paul shouted back, "The Aqua Theatre," and he said, "Oh, please save me a seat." We did, although he was needed on the stage for the Aqua show. We dashed over to the boardwalk down to where the actual show is held and got our seats about 4 rows from the front at dead centre, which I was surprised was still available.
On the count of 3, I need you to make a little bit of noise. 3, 2, 1! Tonight is all about throwing every trick that we've ever learned in this venue at you. Every trick in the kitchen sink. So if there's something you love, something you appreciate, don't be afraid to make a whole lot of noise. Now, people sitting in the 3rd row, it might get wet. Maybe. Not as much as the people who want to sit down here, like right there. And that's why you wore shorts. Good for you. I appreciate that. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike, your cruise director on board, and it's a pleasure to present our ultimate aqua showcase for you tonight. Get ready to have some fun. We'll see you in a little bit. Sit back, relax, it's showtime.
When the show started and the music kicked in, which was from the latest Tron movie, there were some lighty up things like lightsabers and light bars being used, as well as dancing and movement in and out of the water. What an amazing start. Mike, the cruise director, then came on stage, spoke about the aqua shows, and then there was some diving, then he introduced the tightrope walker, and then we had the high divers. I realised afterwards it was called a showcase, which is why it felt a little bit bitty. The finale was amazing with the warriors. It was a full female cast, and they were just absolutely astounding. It's right up there with any great show, but I don't think anything will ever beat a hero. The aqua show from Symphony of the Seas, which is still my favourite. I could watch that show every night on a cruise and never get bored. After the divers finished, we got treated to Yuri the juggler from the Ukraine, who got a massive round of applause. It was then time to call it a night. It's been another long day. We headed back to our staterooms to get some slumber, and we had a little more exploring to do tomorrow. So with that, let's turn out the light, sailors. We'll pick you up again in the morning.